The regular meeting of the Town Council of Southern Shores for March the 3rd is now in session. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May we take a few minutes for a moment of silence? Thank you. Just want to let everyone know that Mayor Bennett is not with us tonight. He is away on a well-earned vacation. Council, next item on our agenda is the amendments and the approval to the agenda.
I'll move that we approve the amendments in the agenda.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
No, didn't carry. General public comments? Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, in case you haven't noticed it, we've got a new lighting system up here similar to what we talked about recently. So when you folks coming up for public comments, the lights follow the same as the commissioners. Robert Hawk.
I won't use up the whole 3 minutes on my lighting system here. So I used to attend these meetings regularly, but after attempting to be proactive with different government folks here, I actually found that it became a waste of time. A couple of times I stopped in to discuss things with our town elected officials and town employees, and I really didn't get much of anywhere where I thought I wanted to be. As a result of that, I'm going to take a few minutes to just make a point tonight, and the only point that I wish to make is that silence is not agreement. Mayor Bennett published a letter in which he stated that the majority of our town is in agreement with the way our town is changing, okay? This silent person has been silent long enough. Okay, I am not in agreement with the choices and the decisions that you folks have been making. Silence is not agreement. That is my point to make this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Ursula Bateman.
Yeah, I basically want to talk about the comment section. Having the comment section now, when we first get here, to me, really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think most people come to these meetings because they have maybe personal issues, they have issues with the trees, with the roads, with flooding, with their own houses, whatever, and they want to discuss it with you. Or they come here because they're really interested in the town, like a lot of us. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what the staff reports are. We may want to know the financial condition of the town, whatever. We can't ask those questions in the beginning of the meeting. We have to wait for 2 weeks. We never get answers, never. The mayor's chat or the mayor's talk on the website doesn't help us because basically what it's turned into is his bully pulpit for more things he wants to talk about. We are still not getting answers. You can talk for a minute and a half and stand there and wait for an answer and you'll get thank you very much. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ursula. Tony Radomski.
Pronounce that correctly. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
All right. Definition of the word demolition. A noun, to demolish. Definition of demolish. A verb, to destroy, to forcefully tear down or take apart, to damage so it cannot be repaired. The word demolition is what our town engineer used to describe his plan for Scuppernong Lane, demission plan, not demolition plan. Scuppernong Lane is one of several streets that have been or are in the process of being demolished. Scuppernong Lane lost 35 trees. Fairway Drive, 44. the Dogwood Tree 36, Gravy Pond 38, Podeskeet 53, Honeysuckle Lane 50. With the exception of the Dogway T, all are dead in the streets. 256 demolished trees. 256 demolished trees, hardwoods, pine trees, the dreaded gumball trees, and evergreens, some older than 80 years. The vast majority of the residents on these quiet dead-end streets are devastated. Their pleas, as well as many other residents, have been met with a seemingly oh well attitude. Future streets include Yoke Pond, where we know that there are scheduled 65 trees to be removed at this point, North Dogwood Trail, Beech Tree, Mockingbird, and Osprey, with more to come. I am a member of the steering committee, the Alliance to Preserve Southern Shores. We are striving to protect and preserve Southern Shores. If you are interested in being informed or need a voice, see me after this meeting. One more fact. There are 415 species of birds who make their county their home. Some are on the endangered list, on the endangered species list. Many live in Southern Shores. As our way of life is being systematically demolished by this town's government, so are the very habitats of much of our wildlife. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Van Giesen.
Back in January, Ann Schertzma and I met with the mayor and with Mayor Pro Tem Hess. And at that time, one of the topics was the future projects, particularly at Yoke Pond and Scuppernong. We were informed at that time that the town representatives, including town council members, had met with the residents on those streets and were assured by the mayor that the residents generally supported those projects. A few weekends ago, several members of the Alliance to Preserve Southern Shores went to those streets and went door to door and walked up and down the street and met with the residents of those streets. And we got a different story. While there were a few that supported the project, the majority of the residents were resigned to the projects because they felt they had no choice. They were told, or excuse me, they were under the impression that the roads had to be built to NCDOT, rebuilt to NCDOT standards, that they were being paid for by state grants, and without the grants, the projects could not be undertaken and the roads would continue to deteriorate. Move forward in time to last week's town council retreat. And during the public comment section, Debbie Newberry got up and retold that story, the experience that the canvassers had at Yoke Pond and Scuppernong, and was asked the town council to consider doing a better job of properly informing the residents about the facts regarding where the money was coming from and what standards were required for the roads. Later during the town council retreat, there was a session on communications. And you all graciously assigned the problem of communications to the citizens who don't bother to go to the website or read the information that's available. Yet you had a perfect example of a miscommunication problem right in front of you, and you ignored it and did not mention it and did not address it in your communication session. And I think that is a gross failure on your part. The other thing I want to bring up, and you can probably tell I'm pretty upset. The other thing I want to bring up is I attended the Capital Improvement Committee meeting a few weeks ago and observed how they conduct business, and was glad to see that there are 2 representatives who are voting representatives on the committee that are residents, and then 2 representatives from the town council that are voting members. Well, at the retreat, you all decided, I don't know that it's a final vote yet, but you all agreed, at least in principle, that the committee would be restructured so that there would be not less than 1 resident instead of a number 2. And the example you gave was that, well, what if the 2 residents didn't agree with the 2 town council members on an issue? Where would that leave us? I don't think that's a good reason to change the structure. I think you should keep it the way it is, or at least add another resident, so it's 3 residents and 2 town council members.
Fred Newberry.
Hi, I'm Fred Newberry. I live on North Dogwood Trail, and I'd like to discuss follow-up to the council retreat on February 17th. Matter of fact, I wrote an email to all of you, including the town manager, about some points I wanted to make about the vegetation removal ordinance discussion. Basically, I think you people were uninformed. I don't think, based on the discussions, you had all the facts. Never one time did you mention that Southern Shores is in a maritime forest and we need to protect it for the benefits that it provides to the town. There was inadequate discussion on ordinances in neighboring towns, Duck in particular. You discussed burns on the Sound, prescribed burns, but there's no vegetation to burn on the Sound unless you want to set trees on fire. All the vegetation is down in Gingite Creek. That's not the Sound. You agreed that education is the answer to the problem about preserving vegetation. I think it's a good thing to do, but that's not enough. We need more. But I will say the town manager and the mayor responded to me, and I was assured, according to them, that the staff had researched ordinances in neighboring towns. The staff is aware of all the designations of environmental concern by DENR, including maritime forests. There were discussions with the North Carolina Department of Forestry Resources, but none of this, very little of this information was discussed by you. There was also, and I'm quoting, as evidenced by the town's land use plan, the town council and town staff are committed to preserving and sustaining residential ambience and quality of life for its citizens and taxpayers. That's hard for me to buy because I look at Fairway Drive, it's been clear cut. Scuppernong is just butchered. I was amazed at it. And looking at the Dogwood Trail intersection, the so-called low impactment in development, the first principle of LID, conserve vital ecological natural resources, trees, streams, wetlands, drainage courses, and etc. Trees have been destroyed. Stormwater damage, drainage is being installed. I mean, you go out there and look at the culverts, but there never was a drainage problem at that intersection. And it looks like Y'all Pond's going to be next. I've got two quick questions. How can the ambiance of Southern Shores be preserved when the council is authorizing road widening projects and clear cutting of trees? Example is Dogwood Trail intersection. And why wasn't the agenda given to us in advance so we could tailor our comments to the discussion? Thank you.
Thank you. Tommy Carroll.
Good evening, Tommy Carroll, 77 East Dogwood. I'm going to, two quick comments. Going back to the 2013 retreat, and I believe Ms. Hess, David Sanders, and Larry were involved as the only council members. There was discussion that after thorough discussion, I'll quote, after thorough discussion by the members of the council, it was a consensus that the town should open to the general public as well as the residents and the property owners. And I'd just like to get feedback on why would you think opening up to the general public would be good for Southern Shores and its taxpayers and its citizens. The other next comment is based on the general public comment section of the minutes. It used to be, not too long ago, that you would look at those minutes and it would outline or state that Tommy Carroll spoke, or Fred spoke, or Bob spoke, whoever spoke, and would give you a brief description of what they spoke about. Now it just puts the person's name that they had a comment in general comment. And I think that's a transparency issue. Not everyone's going to go to YouTube and listen to the general comments. Okay, thank you.
Laurie DiBernardo.
I'm different. Hi, I'm here tonight. I'm Lorelei DiBernardo, and I'm representing the League of Women Voters of Dare County.
There you go.
I'm here to present to you the 2015 Citizens Guide that we have assembled for the county. Complimentary copies of this guide have been published by the League since 1988. They're distributed annually throughout the county, and we want to gratefully acknowledge the contribution that Southern Shores has made, as well as the county and other municipalities and local businesses to help offset our publication expenses. I also want to acknowledge the many employees who helped us update the information that we do every winter, spring. Our guide is published under the auspices of the State League of Women Voters. The guide provides names and addresses, phone numbers, email addresses for national, state, county, and municipalities. And additionally, it has information on governmental funded recreation areas and services, local attractions, voting information, and emergency numbers. We have printed and distributed 6,800 copies of the guide this year from Duck to Hatteras Village. They're available in libraries, post offices, the Baum and Fessenden Center, as well as town and county offices. Our league is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages the active participation of citizens in government and influences public policy through education and advocacy. Publishing this guide is part of our continued commitment to provide pertinent information to our community's voters. Membership in the League of Women Voters is open to anyone of voting age, male or female. New members are always welcome. And we again thank you for your support.
Thank you, Laurie. I know a number of people find this guide extremely valuable for information. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see, we have one more. Ike McCree.
Good evening. Ike McCree, 52 Scuppernong Lane. I've been a local government lawyer for 26 years now, and I know it's not often that a governing board or its staff receives any kind of accolades or thanks. But after reading and observing the vitriol, the hyperbole, the ad hominem attack on the motives and character of you town council members and town staff, I can no longer be quiet, and I rise to thank you for what you're doing with the capital improvement project and plans, particularly on Scuppernong Lane, and I want to correct a record filled with distortion and misstatement of fact. First of all, thanks for the capital improvement plan, for a tangible use of my tax dollars, for correcting the mess that was left by developers years ago who did the least they could in putting in poor infrastructure and were more than happy to leave the Civic Association with the streets and now the town with a crumbling infrastructure and canal system that demands repair and maintenance to preserve the quality of life in this town, to preserve property value, and in the sense of good governance and stewardship. Now let me first of all correct the record as to the Scuppernong Lane issue. Your town staff and engineer held probably one of the finest community meetings I have experienced in my career in local government. They set up a tent on our street. All the neighbors were present. They had a table on which they laid out the plans proposed for our street. They gave us many options of what could be done with regard to improvements to our street, the number of trees that might need to be removed, the type of drainage system that might need to be constructed. We talked about a narrower paved area within the right-of-way. We talked about a wider paved area. We were given an option. We chose the widest, most engineering sound construction for our street. We asked for additional trees to be cut over and beyond that which the engineer was recommending because we believed it was important and essential to a good project, and we asked for it. We are getting exactly what we asked for. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. I do wish that the distortion and the misrepresentation of facts would end, at least as the Scuppernong Lane. We are very pleased with the project so far. We are unhappy and is unfortunate about Ms. Thomas and the fact that she discovered that her front yard, which she believed was hers all this time, is actually a town right-of-way. During the course of the street meeting, we walked her property and tried to look at various options. But we all agreed that, as unfortunate as it was for her, this project had to go forward with the construction of the full facility, including the cul-de-sac. And the town manager has agreed, as I understand, to make sure that, to the extent possible, landscaping may be replaced to buffer her yard from the new cul-de-sac. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for what you're doing. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mr. McCree. That's the number of signatures that we have on the list, and I thank you all for your comments. Council, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. What is your pleasure?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Okay, well, that's approved. Let's see, staff reports come up next. Town planner, Mr. Weskett.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. I have a brief report for you tonight for the month of February.
You have to tighten that.
There were 8 zoning permits issued, 25 building permits issued. They consisted of 2 new single-family dwellings, 1 repair, 1 remodel and addition, 5 remodels, 1 accessory structure, and 15 others. There are currently 16 single-family dwellings under construction in town, and the total amount of fees collected in February was $8,891.20. Also, with respect to the town planning board, there will be a meeting on March 16th. A zoning text amendment application has been submitted to establish an ordinance to minimize tree clear cutting. The application and draft ordinance will be posted on the town's website tomorrow, and public notices will be published shortly thereafter. Any questions?
Council?
No, I have none.
No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief Cole. Oh, you've got a new format up there.
Good evening.
That's pretty.
I'm getting shorter here. For the month of February 2015, as you can see, our calls for service were 941. That's about 110 down from last year. I think it's probably because of the real cold weather. We had a total of 17 incidents in February. As you can see, the breakdown, 3 larcenies, 2 frauds, 3 vandalism. We had 2 DWIs. We had an ALE, alcohol enforcement violation. And we had 6 all others. Two of those were underage drinking, and 2 of those were road rage. Under arrest, criminal arrests, we had 8 criminal arrests for the month. 1 was a larceny, vandalism, the 2 DWIs, the ALE violation, as well as 3 others. We had 1 motor vehicle accident. We're happy to report. Citations that were handed out, officers handed out 9 written citations and 14 warning citations. Again, I think the low numbers because it was real cold and they didn't want to get out of the cars. Out of that, the officers conducted 35 traffic stops. And then under ordinances, we had 1 no permit ordinance issued. The only other thing I'd just like to kind of keep you up to date on, well, actually 2 things. No, I haven't heard anything from the Federal Postal Inspector. We've sent him 2 emails. It's the federal government, and they kind of move at their own pace. But as soon as I do have information, I'll pass that along. And just an update on our school resource officer. She's doing a real good job. I've had a lot of positive comments from both staff and parents, and so we're still plugging away over there too. Questions, comments?
Council?
No, just the only comment was I'd seen her on, was a Dare Vision.
Yes.
And how she was interrelating with the students. And what I really noticed was when she would get bend down or get on her,
Yep.
like on one knee to be at the same level.
That's right, and that's important.
That's
why
that's an important thing.
And it is, and that's why I'm confident that we made the right choice when we. You have to have the right officer over there, not for the 9-to-5 job with the weekends off, but because they truly want to be over there, and she fits that bill.
I was impressed with that portion of it.
Thank you. I'll pass that on to her. Thank you.
Thank you. The fire chief, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
For the month of February, the fire department responded to 49 calls, and it breaks down fairly simply. 4 fires, 29 EMS assists, 4 hazardous conditions, no fire, which could be the broken water lines and that type of stuff. 9 service calls, 2 good intent calls, and 1 false alarm. Also, just quickly to mention, for those of you who haven't seen the flyer, there's we're holding a joint venture with the SPCA at the fire department this Saturday, the 7th, from 11 to 2, and it's basically a pet first aid type class that the SPCA is putting on, and we're just assisting them. So if anybody has time or wants to swing through, bring your dog, and see what's going on there, we'd appreciate it. Anybody have any questions?
Good, thank you, that's nice, that's a good communication package. Okay, I understand there are no reports from the town boards. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. And no old business, new business. We said when we were at the retreat, we reviewed the rules of procedure revisions, that we would bring it up to the meeting tonight and discuss it. And we basically had the same package that we reviewed and talked about down there with one minor change. And the minor change says that the Capital Improvement Planning Committee consists of 2 council members with support from 2 citizen representatives, the town manager, police chief, public works director, and the town engineer. At this time, I would recognize a motion to approve for the rules of procedure.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The other 2 items on the board are slightly related. One is the Government Access Channels Committee budget for the year. David, you represent us on that committee. I don't know if there's anything special you want to add. I think the material is kind of self-explanatory.
It's pretty much a standard presentation that's given to the council, each entity that's involved in the program annually.
And the amount of money, the membership fee is the same, that hasn't changed?
Correct.
At this point, okay. I hear a motion for approval of the budget for the Government Education Access Channels.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. The other thing that came along with it was there is what they call an interlocal shared use agreement among all the entities that are involved with the Government Access Channel, and there are 10 units altogether. It includes all of the communities such as Kitty Hawk, Southern Shores. It also includes the Board of representatives from the Board of the Commissioners, the Board of Education, the College of Albemarle, and the Coastal Studies Institute. And they made one change to the program back here. And I guess the question is, does anybody have any questions or comment or issue? It's a minor change. It's just that they're recommending that the candidate form that's sponsored by each participating entity could be aired 4 times a year if the entity so wishes. That's the only change they made in the package.
Basically, the change was from what, from 2 to 4?
From 2 to 4.
Oh, okay, so it's just kind of expanding the...
Right. And it's at the wish of the participating entity with the involved candidates.
Yeah.
So is there any other comments or questions? If not, I'd make a motion to approve the changes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. Okay, town manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. My report tonight is very short, but I did want to bring to your attention that we have posted an information item on the website. It's called, basically it's about the state street aid program that you know commonly as the Powell Bill program with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. The link to our website gives a history and an explanation of the Powell Bill funds that the town receives each year. And it also gives a link to the NC Department of Transportation's information site on the Powell bill as well. And just to remind, the Powell bill was adopted by the General Assembly in 1951. The state tax on gasoline, there's a portion of that that actually goes into a pot for municipal street usage across the state. Last year, this current year, the town of Southern Shores got $108,000 as part of its Powell bill allocation. And that's based on roads that are operable, usable by the general public in a municipality. So hopefully that website link will give some more information to anybody who wants to find out more about the Powell bill program. I did want to report to you that the projects, the street improvement projects that have been underway or progressing this spring. As the asphalt comes up off of these streets, the base will go down, and in some cases, we've discovered, of course, that there is no sub-base. It's basically clay under a couple of the streets, so that the new sub-base will go down and the paving will occur after that, has been explained in previous meetings. I did want to go over real quick with you, if you don't mind, the schedule for budget planning. The department heads have their directions at this point, and they are developing their own draft departmental budgets for me to review with them. On April 21st, we had proposed to you back in December that that be the budget workshop session of the council. And at that time, the finance officer and myself as budget officer will present to you a draft line item budget during that meeting. And that's the meeting, of course, that we can treat as a workshop and go over each line and have the department heads here at your pleasure. The formal budget will be presented by me as the budget officer per the North Carolina General Statutes on the May 5th meeting of the town council. And there will come a recommendation as well that the council set a public hearing on the budget for June the 2nd meeting. That would leave the mid-month meeting of May in case the council would like to discuss the budget presentation further during that particular mid-month meeting. There'll also be a recommendation this year that council hold a public hearing on July the 7th to consider the recommendations of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. In your budget presentation this year, there will be, of course, another recommended appropriation for capital projects, and it'd be staff recommendation that you hold a public hearing to decide which of those projects you would like to see implemented in the next fiscal year, and that date would be July 7th. That recommended date would be July 7th. That's all I have. I'll be glad to answer any questions of the council.
I don't have any.
Questions? That's pretty clear cut.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Town Attorney.
I don't have anything to report tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The only thing I have is, I think you all know that, well, first of all, I know you do know that we did approve a schedule for the council for this full year with showing 2 meetings a month. The month of March is here, and the staff is recommending that we cancel the meeting on March the 17th for lack of agenda items, unless somebody here has something we're going to add to the agenda.
No.
So you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so general consensus of Mr. Town Manager that we cancel that, so you can make those arrangements. Okay, council members. Leo?
I have other, I'm glad to see we're canceling the mid-month meeting because I'm going to be attending the North Carolina Coastal Local Government meeting down in Pine Knoll Shores, North Carolina. And Wayne Goodwin, the North Carolina Insurance Commissioner, is to be there to make a presentation. So that should be interesting.
It should be interesting.
And I'll report back after we get back. That's all I got.
Okay, Larry?
I have nothing, thank you.
David? Boy, you're making
Yeah, we're moving along.
Therefore, I guess we'll get ready to go into closed session. And I make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to consider proposed draft closed session minutes, which are privileged or confidential. It's, excuse me, this one is in connection with 143.318.10. And to consult with the attorney retained by the town in a manner preserving the attorney-client privilege regarding the matter of Southern Shores versus Gingite Woods Water Reclamation Association Incorporated. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll take a 5-minute recess. for the agenda?
No, I don't.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And the last one, Sheila, put anything down you want.